This is lesson 55, common denominators, part 1 for course 1. So remember, a denominator is the bottom of a fraction. So if I have half, that is my denominator. The top is my numerator. So normally when we're adding and subtracting fractions, we are using common denominators. So they're the same thing. So for example, I might have 2/4, add 1/4 equals, I bring the 4 over because they're common denominators. When I have the same denominator, I just bring the denominator over, and then I add 2 and 1 is 3, and I end up with 3/4. Okay, this is what we're used to. What we're going to be looking at today is what if you don't have common denominators? What if instead of having that, I have 3/4 add 1/2? Okay, now we have a tricky problem because I can't just bring the 4 straight over. I have two separate denominators. So I'm going to turn them both into common denominators. So I'm going to turn them both into the same, like I did have before. So we're going to change this one to match this one. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to look for a number that I can times 2 by to make 4. Now, what can I times 2 by to make 4? Well, I can times 2 by 2 to make 4. And if I do it to the bottom, this is your rule, remember, if you do it to one side, you must do it to the other. If I do it to the bottom, I must do it to the top. Okay, so you end up with 2 times 2 and 2 times 1. So my new one is 3/4. Add 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, and now I can do my addition as normal because now I can just bring the 4 straight over and I add my top two. 3 plus 2 is 5. And then I have to turn this into lowest terms. Remember, always put them into lowest terms unless asked otherwise. So 4 goes into 5 once, which leaves me with 1/4 left. Okay, but again, I made this fraction by looking for, remember we used to do equivalent fractions? We've done equivalent fractions before. This is an equivalent fraction to this because I times both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So it's an equivalent fraction. So I then take this fraction. Again, remember, I took this and I said, okay, I need to get 2 to 4. How do I get 2 to 4? Well, if I times 2 by this number, I can get 4, which means I have to do the same thing to my numerator, times it by 2, and I get my equivalent fraction, which I can then do my adding with because they both have the same denominators. Let's look at one more together. This time, let's look at 1/2 take away 1/6. Okay, so again, I need to change my denominators to match. Now I can do this one of two ways. I can either take the 6 and divide it down, or I can take the 2 and times it up. The problem with taking the 6 and dividing it down, because some of you are saying, hey, if you divide 6 by 2 or by 3, you get 2. That is true. But remember, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. I cannot divide this by 3 because I cannot divide 1 by 3. Okay, so in that case, what I need to do is instead I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to get it up to the 6. Okay, I need to match 2 to 6. So I'm going to take 2, and what do you times 2 by to make 6? You times 2 by 3 to make 6, which means I did it to the denominator. I must do it to the numerator. Okay, because whatever you do to 1/2, you have to do to the other. Tops and bottoms equal, which now leaves me with 3 times 1 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, take away 1/6. And now I can do my math as normal. I bring over the 6, 3 take away 1 is 2, and I have 2/6. I then take 2/6 and I have to put it into lowest terms. Lowest term is dividing by 2. Okay, because 2 goes into both of these numbers. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I end up with 1/3 as my final answer. So that is changing denominators to be common. That's why it's called common denominators. You want them both to be the same. Because if they are both the same, your math is supremely easier. Okay? So you need, when you're doing adding and subtracting, you need both of your denominators to be the same. So if they are not the same when you originally get them, you must change them to being the same. Now remember, whatever fraction you change, just like when we do lowest terms, just like we do anything else, if you change the denominator, you must change the numerator. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. That is the rule. That is Lessons 55 for Course 1, Common Denominators, Part 1.